So this is the ExtremeBeam M600 Fusion, which is ExtremeBeam's latest entry into the flashlight market. If you're unfamiliar with ExtremeBeam, they're an American company that manufactures overseas. But the interesting thing about them is, if you believe their marketing, it started off as a ministry in China. An American engineer doing ministry work by going over there, starting a light bulb manufacturing company, and then using the proceeds to fund his ministry over there. Just a little interesting tidbit about ExtremeBeam. They've evolved back from 2006 into the sort of ExtremeBeam, they're called Alpha Tac. So there's obviously some kind of tactical marketing. As far as the light itself goes, though, as you can see, it's not an entirely small flashlight. Here's the E2L from Surefire that I reviewed earlier in comparison. You can hide the E2L completely behind the M600. And as such, it doesn't have it's not quite so handy as the Surefire light, but I mean, it's not huge. It's not like the mag lights of old, and it does have a nice heft in hand. Speaking about grip, the ExtremeBeam also has this knurling that I noticed on the Surefire. I mean, most of these flashlights will have some kind of knurling, but it also has a micro pattern in the knurling, which is not as deep as the one in the Surefire, but it's present, and it's definitely more tactile than, say, a Phoenix light, which I also have. The knurling is only in the central portion of the flashlight, so you get a little bit less of that texture, but there's other textures that you have to work with too. That'll help keep the light in hand. So I'm not expecting to lose grip of this flashlight anytime soon. Also, it's large enough where the head and the end are large enough where it's probably not going to move forward or backwards. The M600 is, as I said earlier, it's not a small light and is built like a tank. As you can see, the head of the flashlight has these deep machinings in it, which acts as a heat sink. This light is rated at 600 lumens, which is pretty impressive, which puts it right up there with some of the Fury series of lights from Surefire. It's built like a tank, and the company really advertises the fact that all their flashlights are rated for 50 caliber recoil. I'm not so sure that you're going to stick this onto a 50 caliber rifle or a 50 caliber machine gun or what have you, but the point is that it can take recoil or drops or falls or anything like that, which is really confidence inspiring, because I've definitely broken some lenses in some flashlights before. I haven't dropped this light yet, but it's reassuring to know that it can probably take that abuse. The M600 Fusion has this really thick aluminum tube that's one of the batteries, one of two batteries, by the way, one of two batteries, and then it has two rubber O-ring seals for waterproofness. As you can see, one of the O-rings here is exposed, but there's still another one that will prevent water from getting in. The front O-ring is exposed because this light is actually a focusable light. So twist one way to spread, twist the other way to focus. Right now I have it set up so that it's so that the beam is roughly the hot spot for the beam is roughly comparable to the Surefire that I have. And as you can see, the beam in the ExtremeBeam is it has that little blank spot in the middle, and you don't get that with the Surefire, which uses a total internal reflection lens, whereas the ExtremeBeam uses a reflector. What you just saw was the high mode for the M600, which is 600 lumens. Also has, in addition to high mode, it has a medium and a low and a strobe. And it's multi-function switch, so you have to cycle through every single switch, which in my opinion kind of takes away from the tactical aspects as far as being able to utilize different tactics with your flashlight. It's really meant to be used just as a constant on, which is actually what I got it for. This is great for emergencies. The battery life on one of these is rated at, let me see, 6 hours for the 600 lumens, and at low mode it's 24 hours. So this gives you a pretty long runtime, and that's what I intend to use this light for. You can certainly use this light as a cudgel because it's pretty hefty, but as you can see, the crenulations indicate that ExtremeBeam, they thought that this would be a good striking tool too. I don't see why it wouldn't be. So due to the size of the this light, it's not really an EDC light for me unless it goes into a backpack or something like that. And I do carry this in my backpack, but I don't carry my backpack everywhere with me. This fits into a pocket a lot better than this does. And you know, to that end, the different modes really lend some amount of utility to it, because the strobe makes a really great emergency strobe. And being waterproof, I can really honestly just drop this somewhere and then leave it as a signal. So I do carry the M600 in my backpack, a London Bridge Trading 3-day standard pack that I also reviewed, and it goes great in this pocket. But it's not a small light in comparison. Here's the E2L. This goes into a pocket way easier. But if you have the real estate on a backpack or a bag or something like that to carry this, it'd be a great light to have. Overall, this light's a great value. MSRP is for $130, but there's a special going on right now to get it for a little less than that. And you also get this this holster, which is largely inadequate for this light. You kind of have to stuff it in there. And then once you've managed to stuff it in, the Velcro doesn't do a really good job of covering it. But the special gives you this and more for less than the MSRP, so you may as well do it. The link is in the description. Also, it has a really high performance for not that much money, and also is rated for 6 hours of high, which is fantastic. That's almost as much as the 7 hours of this one at high, which is only 125 lumens. And further, you have different options, which will give you even more runtime. And this strobe, which is great for signaling or signaling really. You can theoretically use this in a tactical situation. I wouldn't, because first you have to cycle through the high, which you can use to blind somebody, but then you got to get through medium and then low before you get to the strobe. So hopefully they'll be blind long enough to get to the strobe, which is fine. But just it's not. In my opinion, take it for what you will. This light is not as tactical as ExtremeBeam would like it to be, but it is a great light to have just to have around. It can take quite a beating because it's built heavy, and it's got a range of modes that are extend the usability, and it's got plenty of O-rings to give it some amount of water resistance. So overall, I would recommend it for just a good general use light, not for EDC, but to have in like your emergency kit, your bug out bag or whatever, or what have you. This will be a great addition.